am Chrissy, a preschool mum, and I wanted to talk to you about my breastfeeding experiences. I have breastfed 2 children. Neve I breastfed until she was 11 months when she self-weaned. Lucas I'm still breastfeeding now at 3 months. I will admit that Neve was very hard. She used to feed all the time, little and often. Very rarely slept, both in the day and at night, and cried a lot. We didn't get off to a good start, we didn't have the right latch. It took until a midwife came when she was 5 days old to realise we didn't have the right latch, which was why I was becoming sore. So we actually have the rugby position, and then we flew from then. Breastfeeding was a breeze, apart from the lack of sleep, of feeding constantly, and of being sick all the time. And she always seemed in pain. She was very gassy, which meant that she was sick all the time, and she wasn't a very happy baby. So at 4 months I pushed for a paediatrician appointment, and she was diagnosed with reflux. So breastfeeding was quite hard with her, because her normal was feeding all the time, little and often, winding her all the time. And it wasn't until we put her on solids where it kind of eased off and I started enjoying breastfeeding. But it wouldn't have made any difference putting her on formula, so I didn't see the point, because we'd got the right latch, she'd got used to breastfeeding. There was no point me putting her on bottles, so I just persevered with it. And her constant feeding did ease when we started putting on solids, because she was sick less and she was getting full more. She did put on weight very slowly as well, but her norm was feeding all the time, and I just persevered with it. That was her normal, and I accepted it. And I will admit it was hard, being the sole feeder of her, because she very rarely had bottles. But there we go. So when Lucas came along, I was fully expecting the same. I was expecting him to be feeding all the time and to be sick. But luckily, that's not been the issue. He's been a pro, really, and I think that's because I've known what to expect and been more confident in finding a good latch when he was born. And we're still doing the rugby position with him as well. I think I felt more confident in breastfeeding, so I knew what I was doing. And if you feel good, I think the baby feels good. I sometimes feel like they sense if you're all tense and all upset about something. But since he was born, he's roughly fed every 2 hours. He was feeding 2 to 3 times a night when he was younger. As he's got older, that's gone down to 1. And in the last few weeks, something Neve never did until she was at least 1 year old, he's finally sleeping through. And that's at 3 months old. He still has a late night feed, as in like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, but that's usually him till 6 in the morning. So even with siblings, feeding can be totally different. It's not a norm that can be spread across a whole range of infants. Even with your own children, there's differences in how they feed, how long they feed, how often they feed. They have their own normal, and I've accepted that. There is the general rule of thumb that Medela has come up with from extensive research they've done. So it's nice to have some guidelines to go across, which I'm going to put in the blog post with this video. But go with the flow with your child. They know what they need. They know how often they need it. And I've always supported doing feeding on demand, not sticking to a schedule when breastfeeding, because at the end of the day your child is the one that will know best what they want when they want it. So just go with the flow, and most of all enjoy it. I was very gutted when they finished at 11 months. So I can't see Lucas stopping anytime soon. He very much loves his mummy milk. So I'm hoping to go even longer this time. And I don't feel as much of a I don't feel breastfeeding as much of a burden this time either. So hopefully this one will be much less stressful and much more enjoyable. And I hope your breastfeeding experiences are more enjoyable too. And good luck with it. Thank you.